Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be starting a brand new manga review series, and that is of Fairy Tail 100 Years Quest, the sequel series to the original Fairy Tail manga by Hiro Mashima. Now, if for whatever reason you didn't already know, I'm a huge Hiro Mashima and Fairy Tail fan, having reviewed the entire original Fairy Tail manga on my channel, so you better believe I was going to get to 100 Years Quest at some point. And well, here I am. So I can't wait to talk about it. I felt right at home going back to this one with Volume 1, being reintroduced to all the characters I know and love, and this just reminded me of why I love Fairy Tail so much. So I hope you join me for these reviews, and let's get right to it. So first things first, I just want to show you the cover, and obviously this is Volume 1, but most importantly, it now says story and layouts by Hiro Mashima, but art by Atsu Ueda, who is a longtime assistant of Mashima's. And the reason for that is because this is an ongoing series, which I believe started a month or two after Eden Zero started in 2018. And obviously Eden Zero is still ongoing, so Mashima is in charge of writing and drawing that, so he can't do everything. And this and Eden Zero are released weekly, so it's just crazy, man. The guy's an absolute workhorse. So he's just providing the story and layouts for Ueda, and it still looks great in my opinion. It captures the Fairy Tail feel. I guess if you did a side-by-side with this illustration and Mashima's illustration of Team Natsu, you can find some differences, but to me, it still captures the soul of Fairy Tail, and I love it. So let's get right to it. The overall story for it is obviously taking place after the original Fairy Tail manga. I would say you have to read the original before reading this, otherwise you're not going to get many things, but I mean, maybe you can try. Try reading with 100 Years Quest at the beginning. I don't know, maybe it'll work out for you, but, you know, they'd vanquished Acnologia and also defeated Zeref at the end of the last arc in the original series, and now they're going to undertake the 100 Years Quest, which was name-dropped in the original series by Guild Arts. If you remember, Guild Arts attempted it, but it failed, so now Natsu and the gang are going to attempt it, and they meet this wizard up here, Elefsaria, who says, the 100 Years Quest is to seal away the 5 dragon gods, which is a bit of a retcon, because in the original series, we had just thought that Acnologia was the only dragon, but nope, there are 5 dragon gods hiding in the northern continent of Giltina. So, I mean, you had to do something to keep the story going, so I guess it works, but it is a bit of a retcon. And they're as powerful as Acnologia, if not more. At least that's what Elefsaria says. But anyway, we get this nice cover here with all the main characters as well. This is in color. You can probably find that on the internet somewhere. And we get a bit of a flashback, I suppose, to the year 633, which, if I'm not mistaken, we're in the year 793 right now. So, what, 160 years in the past? And this dude, magic is not evil. Ho, ho, ho. And again, another great color page, which just showcases all the characters. And I particularly love this one with Gray and Juvia, where Juvia's like, oh, come here, Gray-sama. And Gray's like, get away from me, woman. Keep your hands off me. And Happy with his fish. So sweet. I love seeing all the characters again. I love these guys. So it starts with 3 new wizards attempting to join the Fairy Tail Guild. And well, only one of them makes it. And as they're being introduced, we see some of the more prominent secondary characters, such as Gajeel, who's like, what are these newcomers doing? Mira Jane, of course, Makarov, Elfin, and Kana. Come have a drink with me. Alzek and Biska. And this dude says he wants to join Fairy Tail because it's the most powerful guild in the land, and he will be the master one day. And upon hearing those words, we see Loxus, who just gives him a smack behind the head and says, pipe down! So, you know, because Loxus is going to be the next master once Makarov eventually passes, being the grandson of Makarov and all. So, you know, I get to see all the familiar faces again. And then the 2 run away, but there's this little girl who's left behind saying her name is Toka, and she wants to join Natsu's guild. And they all perk up and say, Natsu? How do you know Natsu? Oh, I should say Natsu-sama. I proclaim Natsu-sama to be my sweet darling. And they're like spitting out their drinks. And then Kana, oh, looks like you have a twin, Juvia, because Juvia always calls Gray-sama. And, you know, Toka's asking where Natsu is, but Makarov says, well, he's gone on the 100 Years Quest, so you won't see him for some time. And it cuts to Natsu and company, noticing what appears to be snow, but it's really ether nano magical energy particles. So you got that. And I I love this. You got Gray wearing his winter coat, and then a few panels later, he's in his undies. Put your clothes on, will you? And there's a snowman in the background, too, that they made out of the ether nanos. So they're making their way to the continent of Giltina, and as you see right here, that's Ishgar and Alakatasia, which that was the last arc of the original series. These two were fighting each other. And then, yeah, conveniently, the 5 dragon gods are just hiding in the northern continent. So they're making their way there. And we get a little flashback of Natsu talking to Gildarts because, like I said before, Gildarts attempted the 100 Years quest, but failed and lost an arm and a leg. Although Gildarts is extremely badass now with his mechanical arm, so you gotta love that. And they make their way to the guild known as Magia Dragon. And just a great design here of the castle and then this dragon. So good. And as they open the doors, they see like these eyes looking in on them. And I just gotta point this out, because we all know Mashima loves his fan service. But like right away, you can see Lucy, she's wearing a skirt. You can see her ass cheeks, man. You guys see that? She's got her ass cheeks hanging out. So God bless Lucy, God bless Mashima, and Oeda too. So we're greeted by this giant dragon. I extend my welcome, oh 99th hero, insinuating that they're the 99th group to attempt this quest here. A dragon! And he says, my name is Elefsaria, Dragon of Law, and you, wizards, are here to grant my wish. I'm doing like Shenron voice for some reason, but oh well. So they're talking about the quest. And then Natsu sees right through him, saying he's a human, because Natsu is a dragon slayer, and he knows all about dragons because of Igneal. And Lucy's like, what do you mean he's a human? And he's like, oh, you saw right through me. So he turns back into his human form, which, look at this face, right? And tell me I'm wrong. That's the same face. I don't know. That's what I think. So yeah, here's Elefsaria. It is I, the father of all wizard guilds, Elefsaria, the first master of Magia Dragon. And they're asking where everyone is, but, you know, it's just him taking care of the guild from now on. I love his staff, too. It looks like a dragon. And, of course, as he's talking to him, he just shrinks and goes in between Lucy's boobs. And my goodness, did Lucy get bigger in the span of Fairy Tail and 100 Years Quest? I don't know. It looks like that to me. But I love this line. Oh, come now. I haven't seen a young lady in so long. I'm just a little excited. And then Natsu, get out of there, you son of a... And Lucy, eek! And he teleports away. But of course, Natsu's hand is still down there because, I mean, why wouldn't you be? So Elefsaria mentions that the last one to come around was this stern-looking older fellow, which happened to be Gildarts. And he's just enamored by Lucy and Urza. What a time to be alive. I've come into an age filled with such beautiful lady mages. So he asks if they're prepared for the quest. And then it cuts back over to the Fairy Tail Guild where Juvia's complaining. Oh, what is Juvia doing here? She should have went with Grey-sama. I know, I have a new quest. I'm going to protect Grey-sama, and I'm the quest giver. And Makro's like, she's crazy. What's her problem? So they're just picking on each other about all the lovers between Natsu and Gray. And Juvia's like, oh, Natsu's surrounded by Lucy, Lasana, Urza. And then Toka says, oh, Gray's no slouch either. Surrounded by Or and Ultir. Which Or and Ultir were like his, well, at least Or was his motherly figure. What the hell is she talking about? But name drops this woman, Briar, who, if you remember, was a villain from the Avatar Guild. And Gajil hears that. And he's like, Briar? How does she know Briar's name? So he's suspicious of this Toka girl. Because how would she know who Briar is? So they go on their quest, and this is a flashback to 1 week earlier. This is showcasing Lucy's resolve to go with them. But also, of course, an excuse for her to be in a bikini with Virgo. And Virgo says to Lucy she senses a premonition of a reunion on Giltina. And Lucy's like, what do you mean by a reunion? And it shows Aquarius' key. And also Virgo, oops, should have said that. This will mean mean punishment, a good hard one. Because Virgo loves her punishment. So they all sign their names and accept the quest. And then that's when it's revealed that there are 5 so-called dragon gods on Giltina. You must seal them away. And then he says each one of them rivals or is at least as stronger or at least rivals Acnologia. So we know how powerful Acnologia was, so they're all just as strong. And then Natsu, Dragon Slaying, I'm all fired up. So you gotta love Natsu, and they continue going north in Giltina, and they see these jellyfish-looking creatures, and they start going into Lucy's mouth, and then Natsu notices it, let me eat one too. So they start choking on these jellyfish. It's like those two knuckleheads. But Wendy uses Sky Dragon's roar to send them away, and then Natsu notices some more wildlife, and they're like, leave it alone! You can someone have one of those jellyfish. Are you crazy, Natsu? I'm all fired up. We just love hearing Natsu say that. So Elisaria says, you're the last hope, so you better get it done. And we get a nice shot of the whole group ready to go. And that's that. So they're also talking about the reward, and Elisaria says, 1. He will grant 1 wish if you accomplish this task. So everyone's thinking about what they want. Here's all their shocked looks like, ooh, 1 wish, what can we get? And Lucy, having remembered what Virgo had said about a reunion, thinks about Aquarius's key, and if Elisario can repair Aquarius's key. And then Happy, oh, free rent. I'm just ask for a house. And then this one, dude, they're always picking on poor Wendy. I want a chest. But it's like, dude, Wendy, how old is she? She's like 12 years old. She'll get a chest eventually. She just needs to give it some time. I know she's up against Lucy and Urza, but those ladies are in their 20s, so I don't know, always picking on Wendy. So here they are in Ermina, which is where the first dragon is said to be. And then it cuts to Gajiel in his detective outfit, along with Pantherleg. I love Pantherleg with his little pipe. Trying to get to the bottom of who Toka really is. Because, again, they're perplexed as to, how she even knows who Briar is. And Juvia joins as well. And then as Natsu and the gang make their way to Ermina, we see these two looking on. And this horned fellow and this young lady. And he says they're mages from the southern continent and refers to him as Sujin Sama, honored water god. Which, Sujin, that means water in Japanese. And if I remember right, there was a Yu-Gi-Oh card with the Gate Guardians. It was like Sujin, Raijin, and what was the Earth one called? You guys know, the Gate Guardians from Yu-Gi-Oh. But yeah, he's the water dragon god, also known as Merkphobia. But this woman calls him Sujin Sama. So they're here, and they're greeted by this fish on the counter, who then turns into a man, and he's looking for his date, known as Sharkette, and tells them to go to their rooms, and they got to drink the potion there if they want to survive in this town. So they're relaxing in their rooms, and then they notice the potion looks very suspicious. There's like a skull up there, and it looks like poison, and they're like, oh, should we drink that? But they drink it anyway. And they wake up to be completely submerged in water, but it turns out they can breathe underwater thanks to the potion. And having Merkphobia, the water dragon god, overseeing this land, naturally there's a lot of water. So there they are. And it's also an excuse for Lucy to show herself in a bikini yet again. So good for her. And I love this one with Urza. Look at her. Oh, a race? You're on, Sharkette. And I see a shark with lipstick. What the hell's going on? So they're having fun in the water. Again, Urza's line. Yeah, and let me and Sharkette have a great showdown. I don't know, man. It's just crazy. So Gray lets it slip that they're here to slay the water dragon god. It's like, no! How dare you touch Sujin Sama! We will not stand for this! And all the fish start attacking them, including Sharkette. And then, poor Lucy, this is the second time now she's been vandalized. There's a shark, not a shark, but a fish that sneaks up behind her bikini, and pulls the string, and it's like, oh no, it's gone, what are you doing? So they start fighting the fish, and, what's this? Natsu's just carrying Lucy like that, like, come here, Lucy, we gotta go. So back over here, Juvia and Toka are feuding with each other, and then Gajiel notices that she has a tail. It's like, what the hell? How does she have a tail? What's the meaning of this? An actual tail? But then it disappears after she gets up again. So it cuts to some more familiar faces over at Sabretooth, where we see Sorino and Yukino. And of course, the two of them are sisters. And Sorino is now a member of Sabretooth, so it's great seeing them. And we also see Jalal, who is also talking to Sting, Rogue, Frosh, and Lecter. And he's looking for someone. and gives them a picture of the girl Toka. And they're like, well, we don't really know who Toka is. And then Jalal warns, if you see her, do not engage under any circumstances. So this sweet, innocent girl, what's the meaning of this? And we know Gajil and Juvia are looking for her, and now Jalal's looking for her. So they escape the fish for now. And again, we have Lucy with Natsu's scarf. And Natsu, give me my scarf back. And you can just change your celestial spirit clothes. So that's exactly what she does. And she has Aquarius' star dress, so she can get back in another sexy bikini. And it's a beautiful thing. So they're talking more about what they got to do with the 5 dragon gods. And, you know, Elisari had mentioned to seal them away, but Natsu's like, well, if we can't seal them, we got to slay them. It's dragon slaying time. So they agree to turn themselves into fish using Wendy's enchantment magic, but she does everyone first and herself last, turning herself into a jellyfish. And it's like, no, what happened to me? So they're looking around and they see this cage. And it turns out that they have captured this woman who they're going to sacrifice to Sujin-sama. And while they're looking at her, they notice that her shoulder has a guild emblem. And would you just look at her? Another Mashua hottie. Does Mashua have any female characters that are ugly? Like, serious question. So as they're observing her, you know, they're acknowledging the guild emblem. And then she appears to be unconscious, but she wakes up or, you know, stops faking it and says, oh, you're really humans. And they notice the aura. And then all of a sudden this dragon shows up, who they think is the water dragon god, but it's really one of Mercphobia's underlings, who looks like Seedramon from Digimon, if I do say so myself. But they're like, what is going on? And they're all like, oh, we're going to sacrifice this chick. And she's like, starts laughing. And then starts licking her lips there, and uses her magic to just cut the cage and obliterate this dragon in one attack. And again, look at her face, her tongue hanging out. She's crazy. But she uses the Blade Dragon Sword Dance. What a great shot, man. And cuts him into a million pieces. Like, look at all that. And as that happened, they're always completely shocked. And she eats it. She eats it whole. And they're like, what? She ate it? What the heck? So they're like, oh, she means business. Let's turn back to our human forms, which is exactly what they do. And the girl notices that Natsu's a dragon slayer, and then gives a bit of a lore dump again about the different types of dragon slayers, how first generation, second generation, which that first generation is Natsu, second generation is Loxus, third, I think that was Cobra, right? Or Eric from the Irration Seis. And then she's known as fifth generation, known as the Dragon Eaters. Dragon Eaters? And that's why she keeps licking her lips. And then we get the name drop. She's part of the Wizard Guild Diabolos, populated exclusively by Dragon Eaters. They call me Kyria, the Blade Dragon. And what a hottie she is. My goodness, man. I'm telling you, is there a single unattractive female character in Mashua's series? I don't think so. So they start battling her, and you see one attack. And also, holy crap, another panty shot from Lucy. That's the second one. Woo. But attacks Natsu. He's bleeding all over the place. No, what do we do? And Lucy uses her Aqua Mitria attack, but to no avail. And then again, Kiri, poor Lucy at her bikinis, gets cut up. Look at this. Oh no! Poor Lucy. But she uses Virgo's star dress to get another bikini. And Gray shows up to freeze Kyria. And they're trying to figure out who exactly she is, although we know she's part of Diablos. But what is she doing here? And how to put a stop to her until she breaks free from Gray's ice. And then Urza shows up with a sword. And Kyria, her eyes light up. A sword! Excellent, now we can cross blades. And as she's ready to strike Kyria, this dude shows up. His name is Mad Mole. And he's known as the Armored Dragon Eater. And has this catchphrase at the end of all his sentences. I was worried. Cha! So he's blocking Urza's attack. And what happens here is there appears to be an opening. And Mercphobia, also known as Sujin-sama, appears, ready to dispel them. And this fish, Sujin-sama, what are you doing here? And yeah, he's a human. Which, I don't know why Natsu's so surprised, because he saw Elisaria was a dragon who turned into a human, And, of course, this guy is a dragon that can turn into a human as well. So Kiria's like, oh, I'm waiting for you. I'm going to eat you good. And as they're ready to attack, they start to vanish, turn to ash. And, they leave. Their associate, Scullion, took them away because he realizes that the two of them are no match for a dragon god themselves. So Mercphobia is eyeing up Natsu, and he says, you've come to slay me? Well, not exactly. We got to seal you away. And Mercphobia acknowledges that old Elisaria sent you guys, and he's done bad things in the past, but now he just maintains this village, and he provides them with clean water and that whole thing, and he's really not a bad guy. So he takes them to the water palace, and we're also met by his associate, Caramel, or Caramel? How would you pronounce that? Caramel, I think. And again, another 10 out of 10 Masha woman. Oh, also, I skipped over this. Throughout that whole ordeal, because we didn't see much of Wendy, she was still a jellyfish, and she turns back to normal. So there you go. Wendy's still there. And they're just talking about how he's doing good deeds for this land. However, he no longer has his dragon powers. It was stolen by a white mage. So then it cuts back over here to the Diablo's ship, and Kiria is giving Scullion a hard time, like, oh, we could have finished him for good. What are you doing? And as that happened, he's like, well, maybe we'll go back because the dragon no longer has any power. You must eat that thing. And we get the reveal to Scullion, who's pretty badass looking. Look at this dude. So it cuts back to Jalal asking more about Toka, and it takes him to the Blue Pegasus Guild, where we see our friend Ichiya. Men! And there's a little song and dance for him with his buddies there. We also see Jenny and Master Bob. And what were their names? I forget. It was like Eve, Ren, and Hibiki, right? But good to see all them. He shows the picture, and they're like, well, we haven't seen a cute face like that around here. If we did, we wouldn't let her leave. And Jalal gives them the same warning, if you see Toka, do not engage. So Gajil and Panther Lily still wearing their hats, along with Juvia, spying on Toka, and they figure out that she's in the same apartment building as Lucy. And, that's a few pages ahead, but they're just stalking her, and she goes to Natsu's house, and then to the same apartment building as Lucy, and Juvia imagines a tug of war for Natsu between Toka and Lucy, and then, they're still spying on her, like a peeping Tom. She starts undressing, and it's like, wow, and Juvia, don't look, Gajil, and they start roughhousing, right? They're watching, and they fall from the second floor or whatever, and Levy's watching, and if you don't already know, Levy and Gajil are a thing, and Levy's pregnant with Gajil's kid. So the two of them are fighting, and Levy sees that, and it's like, dude, come on, Levy, Gajil's yours, and we all know that Juvia and Gray are a thing, so what are you getting all upset about? So anyway, they're talking more to Mercphobia here, and he's saying that he no longer has his powers, and the white mage took it, and then all of a sudden, the Diablos Guild members show up again, led by Scullion, and it's time for round 2. So I love this shot, too, of Scullion and Natsu eyeing each other up. Then over here at Mermaid Heel, again, Jalal continuing his search, although Kagura knows that Toka recently joined Fairy Tail. And Jalal, oh, Fairy Tail, are you serious? And it ends here with Toka saying, well, Jalal saying this as Toka is bathing, she could be as dangerous as Zeref himself. She's the great witch who's lived for 100 years. The white mage Toka. And yeah, we had heard Mercphobia had mentioned that he lost his powers to the white mage. So this little girl, I guess so. We'll have to find out what happens in volume 2. But yeah, this was a great read. I love seeing all these characters again that I know and love so much. All the same things that, typically happen, from the fan servicey stuff to Gray and his scene to just these goofy moments with Natsu and Lucy, the battles, the dragons, just the character designs in general. Seeing the new characters, in particular Kiria, who is smoking hot. And again, can any of you tell me an unattractive Mashima lady? I don't think there is. So yeah, and also another thing about Mercphobia, you might think he's connected to Jalal because in the second volume you see he has blue hair, and he has that marking on his eye, but that's just a thing that Masha likes. Obviously he's different, he has horns, he's the water dragon god, so. Thanks, guys. Let me know your thought in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Everyone have a great day. Peace out.